Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to review Elegant Rapunzel from the Tango series. But before I actually do that, I want to address some of the comments that I got from the gameplay videos that I've been posting recently. So I want to just reiterate this because I did mention it in a previous video that I posted, is that going forward, I'm going to give you guys all of the gameplays as soon as possible. And then once those videos are up, I'm going to do the review videos like this one right here. So there won't be any commentary on the gameplay videos, but for the review videos and the tip videos like this one, I will let you guys know what I think about them and the strategy that I use on using them. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the drop rates for Elegant Rapunzel first. So between the three new Tsums that are out this month, you have Elegant Rapunzel, Elegant Ariel, and Elegant Tiana. Elegant Rapunzel is going to be a little bit more difficult to get compared to the other two new Tsums, and that's because she is going to be the better one out of the two other ones that are available. So if you are going for a coin earner, Elegant Rapunzel is the number one Tsum you want to get for coins. Number two will be Elegant Tiana, so that's a spoiler there, and then number three will be Elegant Ariel. I will have review videos for those two Tsums as well, but for this one, let's cover Elegant Rapunzel first. So her ability description is high scoring Rapunzel Tsums appear and clear Tsums in an arch shape as well as in the center. Now I did get a question in my Discord server about the shining Tsums that are available in the game during the ability time, and essentially those are the high scoring Rapunzel that the ability is mentioning. They do give you a pretty big boost, especially if you have a high combo and a high chain. So try to make a long chain or high combo when you're using Elegant Rapunzel, especially if you're chaining those shiny Elegant Rapunzels. Alright, so let's get into the stats. In order to activate Elegant Rapunzel's ability, you're going to need to clear anywhere between 20 to 25 Elegant Rapunzels off the screen, and this number will depend on what skill level you have her at. Her minimum score is 40 with a maximum score of 1020. So from a maximum score, it's pretty good, especially given her ability and what her Tsum is intended for. So because of that combination, she is going to be a high scoring Tsum. Now I don't have her at level 50 just yet. I think I'm at level 40 or 42. And once I get her to level 50, I'm planning on doing maybe a live stream for the new event. And that way we could take a look at Elegant Rapunzel together live. Okay, and then going on to her skill. If you want to get her to skill level 6, you're going to need to get a total of 36 copies of her from the premium box or using a skill ticket. Now, she's not the best coin earner in the game, and she's not going to be the highest scoring Tsum in the game either. But depending on what Tsums you have already in your collection, she may be a good option to add, especially if you don't have one of the higher coin earners or have a high scoring Tsum. This might be a good one because she's good for coins and she's good for score. Alright, so let's take a look at her skill chart on the bottom right hand corner there. You'll see that every single time you level her ability, two things change, and that's the skill range as well as the amount of Tsums that's required to activate her ability. This is really rare where both things change. Usually they alternate. So because of that, Elegant Rapunzel is going to be pretty good. Now before I go any further, if you guys are enjoying this type of content where I review Tsums, do monthly leaks, go over the pickup capsules and selection boxes, or just want to support this channel, please give this video a thumbs up as well as subscribing to the channel. And if you guys want to chat with me on Discord or engage with other Tsum Tsum players, consider scanning this QR code or using the link down below to join the Discord server. Alright, so let's take a look at all 6 of the skill levels for Elegant Rapunzel, starting with skill level 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll move up to skill level 4, 5, and 6 later. So just like I mentioned earlier, the skill range is going to increase from extra small to, in this case, it's going to be medium for skill level 3. And then it's going to require one less Tsum every single time you level her up, so making it a lot easier to essentially activate her ability. Now I've been testing Elegant Rapunzel to see what is the best strategy when it comes to using her ability. There was 2 theories that I have. Either first, setting up the screen where that arch has essentially the maximum amount of Tsums as possible before activating the ability, or 2, spamming the skill button, therefore there's that overcharge effect. And what I found is that don't worry about setting up the initial burst. Of course it's nice to have that initial arch to have full 17 or 18, even 19 from that burst, but the trade-off is actually not there. What you want to do is you want to have that overcharge effect and be able to activate more abilities per game versus trying to set up the screen. As you see here, all of my abilities are relatively charged before activating the ability, and that's because of the overcharge effect. So in order for you to use the overcharge effect, what you should do is when you are noticing that your skill bar, in this case Elegant Rapunzel's charge up bar, is relatively full, you want to start pressing that button or that icon. Any additional Tsums that you essentially clear off the screen that you didn't need will go into the next charge up. So instead of getting maybe like 25, you might only need 23 to activate the next ability. So that's the overcharge effect, and in this case it's very powerful. And even if the top part for the arch is completely empty, you still want to activate the ability, because during that second part of the ability, you'll notice that the screen doesn't freeze, so the zooms will continue to fall. So you'll always be getting that maximum amount of burst in the center area. Now there's always going to be a bubble in the way. There's nothing you can do about that, so just ignore that. But essentially you want to use the overcharge effect versus letting all the zooms settle and then activating the ability. So go for the maximum amount of abilities activated per game versus trying to set up the screen properly. Alright, so what I'm going to show you now is a side-by-side comparison of the abilities activated at the same time. This is the animation in full speed, but I'm going to also slow it down for you so you can see what's happening in the animation. So here we have Elegant Rapunzel doing her dance, and then here are the shining Elegant Rapunzels that I mentioned earlier. So these are going to be the higher scoring ones. And this arch is also going to be the same size throughout all of the skill levels between skill level 1 and skill level 6. So like I mentioned, you definitely want to prioritize activating as many abilities per game, and don't worry so much about setting it up. So if you see there at skill level 2 and 3, there is that little gap there. It's not a perfect arch, but don't worry about that. You want to prioritize activating as many abilities per game versus setting up this arch perfectly. And then as I resume here, you'll notice that the clears are relatively standard, not that much change here. Even though with those gaps there, I still was able to get a clear of 16, a 16, and a 17. And this is what you could expect if you have a full top section filled out here. Between skill level 1 and skill level 6, you're going to be getting anywhere between 14 to 19. That's really standard. Now, this is where the difference is between skill level 1 and skill level 6 is the center burst. So as you level up your skill level, the skill range is referencing this circle burst here. And like I mentioned earlier, you're always going to have a bubble there in the center area that's going to get in the way. And this bubble is generated from that arch that was from the initial burst, and it's always going to get in the way, so there's nothing we could really do about that. So kind of just ignore that. And then here's what you could expect in terms of how many chains you could get. So for skill level 1, you're going to get 19. Skill level 2, you're going to get 22. And then skill level 3, you're going to get 23. Now, what will likely happen after the animation is completed is that you're going to get some shining Rapunzels that are still on the screen. In a perfect world, what you should do is you should either burst a bubble to burst them or make a really long chain that connects them. What you ideally want to avoid is making a chain of only 3 and then bursting them, because the idea is you want to use those shining or shiny Rapunzels to make a really long chain or have them be bursted in the animation, because when you have the multipliers that go into a high scoring zoom and bursting those shiny Rapunzels with a boosted score, it's going to give you a higher score. So if you're playing Elegant Rapunzel with the intention of getting a high score, you should always try to save those shiny ones for the animation to burst them. Now if you have a lower skill level, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because by the time you're going to be able to charge up your ability, those shiny Rapunzels are going to end up at the bottom of the screen and your center burst might not catch them. Well, let's take a look at skill level 4, 5, and 6 and their skill range as well, because they're going to change. Because the skill range are going to increase from large, extra large, and extra extra large, you're going to be able to see that it's going to capture a lot more shiny Rapunzels on the screen. So another thing you want to do when you're playing Elegant Rapunzel is that when the animation is completed, there's going to be at least one magic bubble on the screen. And you want to burst those right away, because in a way they do get in the way from the burst. You ideally want to get all of the magic bubbles off the screen before you activate Elegant Rapunzel's ability. Now I understand that a lot of you might use the bubbles to get back into fever time, or even charge up Elegant Rapunzel's second ability, and that's okay too. But if you are playing Elegant Rapunzel for its high scoring purposes, you definitely want to get rid of the magic bubbles, because you want to maximize the amount of chain that you're going to get. The higher the chain, the more coins, but more importantly, especially if you're going for score, is that it's going to give you a higher score if you have a higher chain. And if you take a look at skill level 6 right now, you'll notice that I'm not going to maximize the chain here. Look, I got 5 bubbles I got in the way, and I only ended up with a chain of 31. Especially for skill level 6, you should get into the 32s and 33s. So because of those bubbles that were there, they definitely do get in the way. So let's take a look at the abilities activated at the same time, and we could really analyze the skill range and where the burst areas really are. And here's the abilities activated at the same time but in full speed, and again I'll slow it down once we watch this in full speed first. So here it is in slow motion. So the animation remains the same between all 6 of the skill level, and the shiny Rapunzels that will show up, the high scoring Rapunzels, they vary from gameplay to gameplay or from animation to animation. So as you see here, I didn't prioritize setting up the screen here for skill level 6 and ended up with a chain of 12. But for skill level 4 I got 15, and skill level 5 I got a chain of 16. And that's really going to depend on how set up your screen is. And again, don't prioritize setting up the screen, but prioritize activating as many abilities per game. And taking a look at the skill ranges for all 3 of these gameplay, you'll see at skill level 4, it doesn't necessarily capture a lot of the bottom section. It only captures 1 Tsum there. Skill level 5 there's 2, and then skill level 6 there's 3. So if you have any of those special high scoring Elegant Rapunzels that are on the bottom left and bottom right hand corner, you might as well burst those or connect chains on them, because it's unlikely that your ability is going to burst them anyways. But if you have them at the top section or in the middle area, you might want to leave them so that way when you activate the next ability, they're going to get captured, because they're going to be high scoring. Especially if you have a high combo and a big burst, you're going to get a lot higher score than if you just chain 3 of them. So that's how you would use Elegant Rapunzel. And overall, I really do like Elegant Rapunzel because she's a little bit challenging. She does get a good amount of coins actually, and she's one of those Tsums that's worth using the 5-4, the coin boost, as well as using the time boost. Most of the Tsums that we have in this game, it's really not worth it to use the 5-4 and the time boost, but for the most part, you actually want to use 5-4 and the coin boost for a lot of the Tsums. But Elegant Rapunzel is one of those Tsums where it's worth that extra 1000 coin to get that 5 extra second, because at the end of the gameplay, you're likely going to be able to get 2000 coins more with those extra 5 seconds. They do add up. And then if you are also playing with the coin boost, which I recommend you to do with Elegant Rapunzel, that's really going to multiply it. The maximum amount of multiplier you can get with the coin boost is 51 times. So imagine if you get 2000 coins more and then you get lucky and get that 51 times multiplier, you're going to get 102,000 coins extra. And to put it in perspective, let me show you the results that I got for all 6 of these gameplays. At skill level 1, I ended up with 1,458 coins and with 4.2 million points. So nothing too impressive. I would say once you get her to skill level 4, you can start using the 5-4 and coin boost. I did end up with 8 million points and 2,828 coins. Now, one thing I do want to call out is that for skill level 6, I did end up with a higher coin count, and that's because I had a lot more practice at skill level 6. I wanted to see what the true potential was. So these earlier skill levels, you likely could outperform the results that I got. The results from skill level 1 through skill level 5 were all my first attempts at those skill levels, so I do think that there's a lot more potential there versus what I got for those 5 skill levels. Now for skill level 6, that's probably what you should aim for with the 5-4, the time boost, without the coin boost. So all of these were done without coin boost. These were all base score, but I did use the 5-4 and time boost for all of them. Now, just to put in perspective on how powerful the coin boost is and why you should always have it on when you're playing Tsum Tsum, is let's take skill level 6 as an example, 7,295 for coins, multiply it by 51 times. Your end result with the coin fairy is 372,045 coins. So if you get lucky and you get a multiplier like that, it's really going to pay off in one coin fairy. So that's why you always play with the 5-4 and coin boost. With the time bonus, it's really up to you. I don't always use it, but sometimes it's worth it. So that's my review of Elegant Rapunzel. I hope that you guys found this video helpful or at least entertaining, and if you made it this far into this video already, consider subscribing. And as always, thank you so much for watching.